Check, check, check. Hi, my name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording, and welcome to a very large number of subscribers special. Today we're going to answer some questions that you guys submitted, which is pretty awesome. I got a lot of really, really good questions, and I think we have at least 50, maybe 60 questions to get through, so let's do the thing. First question, Jorn Pregner asks, what is your name? My name is Jeremy Blake Laird Coke. I go by Jeremy Blake for my music stuff. Frenchie asks, how old are you and why? Frenchie, I'm 37 years old, going on 38. As for why, the experience of linear time, as I understand it, is the natural expression of living in an entropic universe. So that's why my hands look so old. Motakor asks, what city do you live in, or do you live in your own world? Motakor, I live in Seattle, Washington. And yes. Angus Fraser asks, what is your job aside from YouTube music production? Angus, I work for a small video production company in Bellevue. We do stuff for like Microsoft and other corporate clients. I work as a post-production specialist doing video editing, motion graphics, and audio engineering. And I just celebrated my year anniversary there, which is pretty cool. Alejandro Planas asks, when did you start composing, and how long did it take you to get to a level where you felt comfortable with it? I started composing around 1990. As far as how long it took me to feel comfortable with it, I don't know. I'm still struggling with that. Every time I make a song, it's always an adventure. Sometimes it's a fun adventure. Sometimes it's not a fun adventure. It really depends. I mean, I wouldn't say it's ever just easy. It's always a challenge, and that's good. Do you have something like a music degree, or did you make music by ear and pure self-taught? And then where did you learn all the audio design and music theory stuff? Did you learn everything by yourself? I started playing the flute in elementary school. It was the only instrument that we had. And so started playing flute and continued doing it into middle school and high school. And somewhere along that line, it turned out that I was actually pretty good at it. So we moved into private lessons, and I started playing the local symphony and doing competitions and things like that. And then moved on to go to college for music performance. I only did a year of that school and found that it wasn't for me. I developed a really severe case of nerves. I couldn't hold my embouchure anymore. I didn't want to perform anymore. So I ended up dropping out of that school, and about a year later ended up going to audio engineering school in Seattle at the Art Institute. In the meantime, I also had the opportunity to sort of teach myself piano by playing around on my parents' upright piano. We had an old upright piano in the house as I grew up, which was huge because, I wasn't taking piano lessons, but it was really, really fun for me to play on it. And it turned out to be more fun for me than playing the flute. So I would spend a lot of time playing along with artists that I really liked, put on a tape or a CD and play along with them and try to learn the song. And I learned a lot that way. When I got into middle school, I had a really amazing band teacher named Mr. Roberts at Jason Lee Middle School in Tacoma, Washington. He also had a jazz band that I started playing flute in as well. And in that band, he had two Yamaha SY-77s that he let me start playing on after hours. So this is a workstation synth. So I started, getting a chance to actually get a taste of playing the other kinds of keyboards as well. So because of the jazz band, I was able to start picking up things that outside the classical world and apply them to both my keyboard playing and flute playing, and I learned a lot. And then as I moved into the first year of music performance college, I started getting more into dance music. I had already been listening to a lot of electronica of the time, and I guess my senior year of high school, I got exposed to music tracking software, Fast Tracker 2, I think it was called, and I just got obsessed with it. So I brought that in to college with me and actually spent more time, I think, on Fast Tracker than I did my studies. I would crawl in through the window of the dorm's computer lab to play with Fast Tracker and bring a cassette deck down there and record my compositions. I was really obsessed with making electronic music at that point. And I was copying pretty much everything that I heard. I would listen to the Bjork album that came out and I'd be like, I really, really like this particular sound or thing. How do I do it in Fast Tracker? And I just kept on copying and copying and copying until I started to have a better understanding of how these things worked, how these songs were put together. Audio engineering school at the Art Institute, I continued to make mediocre electronic music in my off time. Graduated, didn't do anything with a degree for a long time. I worked as a bike messenger for like 5 years, but I was doing a lot of composition still. I played in some bands. I learned more about what it was like to actually play music with people, and just again kept on working at improving my composition skills around the types of music that I wanted to make. When I moved to San Francisco a few like 15 years ago, I started meeting more people that were doing music and actually doing audio engineering professionally. And I got some opportunities that really shaped my audio engineering side. Like I got an offer to work at the Hardly Strictly Bluegrass Festival, which is an amazing free festival in Golden Gate Park. It's like 3 or 4 days, multiple stages. So we would record the stages live, and then I would mix down selected tracks for archival. And I learned a ton from that. And it was scary at first because I was working with really, really big artists, not directly, but like their content. And I'm like, this is crazy. I have to make sure this is the best it can possibly be. So, I tried and I learned a lot. Then I got a chance to go on tour with Boz Scaggs as an audio tech, and I learned even more there for like 2 years that I did that. During this whole time, I had been DJing and pushing my electronic music production more into like the dance floor realm, because that's what San Francisco was doing at the time, and I really wanted to be part of that. None of the things I was making during that time were any good, but I was still listening a lot and learning through that. So after years and years of just trying all these different things and being given the opportunity to continue practicing these things in different settings, I finally got to the point where I am today. And it's not any one thing. It's not any magic bullet that happened, but just a lot of practice and a lot of opportunities because I practiced. Danny Zepp 92 asks, did you ever play a traditional instrument, and when did you begin to transition to the electronic stuff you do now? I think I answered most of that. I played the flute, and I played the piano, and I played the guitar really badly. I guess the way that it transferred from that kind of stuff, like the classical world, into electronic was exposure to some music that my dad had lying around when I was a kid. He had Depeche Mode's Violator. I didn't understand what I was listening to, but I was really, really obsessed with it. And then started moving as I went through high school and middle school, started finding out about like Underworld and The Prodigy and Chemical Brothers and all of those like 90s like electronica groups. And those were kind of my world for a long time. Like that, Nine Inch Nails, like all of these weird hybrid sort of like genre defining, but also genre defining groups that were shaping the sound back then. So I just really, really liked what I was hearing, and I wanted to make it. And I used the skills that I had gotten from the flute and applied them to that, and just kind of went crazy however I could with whatever tools that I could. Shiloh Janowick asks, what was your first ever synthesizer? My first ever synthesizer was a Casio SK1. It's a little sampler keyboard, kind of like what Gene has in Bob's Burgers. Then the first keyboard that I bought for myself was a Roland Juno Alpha, and I really didn't know what the heck I was doing with it. I just really wanted a synthesizer, and I don't think I ever programmed a sound on it because the interface was so terrible. I do remember playing with a jog dial all the time because that was like hardwired to the cutoff frequency, and that's all you really need most of the time. Future Kitsune asks, what was your setup when you started producing music, and how did it get to where it is now? I have a list over here I'm going to look at because it's a long list. Fast Tracker 2 with just whatever headphones I had lying around. I had the Roland Juno Alpha for a bit. I moved to Fruity Loops, FL Studio, in a really early version, and used that for a long, long time. Then I had a Yamaha RS7000. It was a Groovebox sequencer thing. I used that a lot, especially when I was playing in a band back in the day. I had a Roland RS7, which was a sort of like jack of all trades digital synthesizer. I used that in the band as well. I got an Access Virus A when I was on the road with Boz, the desktop version, which I had wanted a virus forever. Like that was like the first real synth that I had. I recently traded it in for an Access Virus Indigo 2, which is amazing. And let's see what else. The OP1, obviously, the Meeblips, the Meeblip SEs that I soldered, the LXR, pocket operators, the Novation circuit, which I really want to get back. I sold it to fund the Digitact, which I have over there, which I absolutely love, but I missed the circuit. And then the Arturia Drum Brute, a Bass Station 2. And yeah, my current setup right now is the Indigo 2, the Bass Station 2, the Digitact, and the Drum Brute. Those are sort of the core of my setup right now. Frenchie says, how would you describe the genre of music that you create? And then Splitsoft asks, you're an extremely talented man and the music you create is extremely charming. Thank you. Thank you. However, I've always had trouble categorizing it in a genre other than just saying electronic or chill. All right, so to answer this question, I had to think about this a lot because I have a really hard time with my genre classifications for my own music as well. I always, when I put it up on Spotify and all that kind of stuff, when I have to choose genres through DistroKid, it's always electronica, it's always chill. Like, those are the two subgenres that I pick. It just is what it is. Like, that's what they sound like to me. And I had to figure out why, because I don't understand it myself. And it goes back to the kind of music that I was listening to when I first started making electronic music, and that had such an influence on me. And that was bands like Underworld, Bjork, The Prodigy, Sneaker Pimps, Massive Attack. These bands that were coming out and making music that were the things that defined the genres that we know now. And that's because they weren't really beholden to any specific genre. They were all kind of part of this thing called electronica that was like just exploding at that time. And that's kind of where I am too. I've never really lost that influence. Like, I don't make any single specific genre. I'm not trying to be any specific genre. I just want to make the stuff that's in my head. And I think if you go back and you listen to some of that stuff, you'll probably hear a lot more of what I'm doing now than if you try to listen to modern music. Is that good? I don't know. I mean, I'd love to be able to bang out like a tropical house track and have it sound good, but that's just not who I am. Mike Sugarbarker asks, is there a music or a genre of music that you're great making in your head, but you try to make it real and it comes out wrong? What do you struggle with creatively? What do I struggle with creatively? I struggle creatively feeling that my tracks don't really have enough depth to them, that I haven't spent enough time on them, that they're not polished enough or really speaking deeply enough to what I was trying to do with them. And same thing goes with like writing lyrics or singing. It's like I always kind of want to create these things that feel as special as the stuff that I grew up with, the things that impressed upon me what music was about. And I haven't gotten there yet. So that's kind of what I struggle with creatively. What is your opinion on the current state of pop music? How would an artist who doesn't fit in the pop genre stand out? Pop music is actually a couple different things. Like, the music that we can hear on the radio is one form of pop music. And then there's all the other pop music tracks that exist that aren't being force-fed down our throats. And I think it's an important distinction to make between pop music as a genre that you hear on the radio and pop music as an idea. If you're trying to make something popular, you're trying to make something relatable to by people, and that's not a bad thing. So like the idea of the verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, like that's a popular music contrivance. Now you apply it to like someone that you hear on the radio and it might sound trite, but then you apply it to someone who's a little bit more underground and has a different palette of sounds or a different aesthetic, and it sounds fantastic. Same goes with like a hook or like a certain instrumentation. You know, it's not a bad thing to use pop music sensibilities when writing your tracks. And I think a lot of the music that I love growing up had pop music sensibilities, but it wasn't pop music. Being able to connect with people by writing a track that they can relate to, as opposed to just writing something that's for you. Sometimes you do need to dip into those things, and that's not bad at all. I love pop music. I love music that speaks to me in sometimes a really simple way. And that's what I consider pop sensibility. And I don't think there's anything wrong with using that to have a conversation with your listener. As for people who are making music that doesn't fit into the pop genre, what can they do? Well, if you're making some pretty avant-garde shit, then you need to find a community around that avant-garde shit. If you're making noise music, like find people that are also making noise music and be part of that community and share ideas and lift each other up. It's going to be how you guys grow as artists and develop your sounds together and learn new things. Find a community, be part of it, and help it grow. What's your opinion on the immense number of electronic genres we have nowadays? What would be a good way to start making music like you do? Get a free DAW, a digital audio workstation. Try Reaper. It's cross-platform. It's free. Do the thing. Get a bunch of free VSTs. Google it or check the link in the description. I'll put a link there. Start figuring out not only how the software works, but also how the music that you want to make works. I get asked a lot about how a beginner can get started making electronic music. And the biggest thing you have to identify is like, what does that even mean? What does that mean to you? What do you want to make? Are you trying to make a specific genre? Are you trying to make stuff that sounds like a particular artist that you love? Okay, fantastic. Listen to that artist and pick their songs apart and see how you can make those sounds yourself. And as you do that, go to Google, type in your question and follow the rabbit hole until you have an answer. Like, there is no magic to this outside of listening, practicing, and practicing more. Tear your hero's music apart until it's yours, and then start making your own music, hopefully with your own sound and not just theirs. Tom Goodall says, quick fire round, favorite artist in every genre you can think of in 30 seconds, go. Tom, this is not a quick fire kind of Q&A. I appreciate the challenge though. So what I will do is read off some artists that I have been listening to a lot lately, and we'll see if we can do it fast, maybe in 30 seconds. Here we go. Zoot Woman, Phoenix, Brother Tiger, Chick Chick Chick, Fujia and Miyagi, Goldfrapp, Big Black Delta, Destadt, The New Number 2, Who Made Who, Porcelain Raft, Noah and the Whale, Mansionaire, Snow Patrol, Working for a Nuclear Free City, On and On, Kisses, Andrew Bird, Small Black, Rufus Del Sol, The National, Stars, Rack, Eels, Young Galaxy, Elbow, Maps, and Jamie Liddell. Is that a good enough list? I could do that for hours. Who's my favorite musician? Asked the legendary I. I don't have one. Sorry. Joshua Newton asks, who would win, 100 sharks or 200 tigers? Tigers. Madam Cloud asks, what or who inspired you to make your format of videos? Music videos are what inspired me to do what I'm doing. They can be a really powerful way to experience music and visuals together. And I think they're one of the great art forms that we have. Shinstrove asks, which of your own songs is your favorite? Frame of Mind and My Heart Is Your Home from the Psychic Realty album, and Good Morning Infinity from the Vanitas album. They're all songs with lyrics and singing. I guess they're all actually songs I kind of wrote about Brian, or a relationship. And yeah, they're all kind of dear to my heart. Zach T-Bot Dan asks, what bums you out and how do you stop it from happening? The lack of time is what bums me out, both every day to do the things that we want to do, and then overall. I'm 37 years old. I'll be 38 in November. What's happening right now with the YouTube channel is the most sort of recognition I've ever had for the music and video that I've been making. And it feels like it's happening really late in my life. And I really don't know what's going to happen or if anything will happen from it. And then every day we have so little time to do anything for ourselves or to create art or just anything, even to be healthy. And that really bums me out. As for what I do about it, I do what I can. I just live. I do the best I can every day. D-Man, long string of numbers, asks, here's a question for you. What do you do when you need to turn your brain off? Exercise, shower, go for a walk, go play pool, video games. You just step away from the problem. Exercise is the biggest one. That's my reset button for pretty much everything. Super Danted asks, I know what red means, but how does red mean? Let's ask Reggie again.
It's not so much as so little as to do with what everything is. Common knowledge, but important nonetheless.
Boom Bap Art asks, dream collaboration with who and why? Brian Eno. Brian Eno has produced some of my favorite albums of all time, and he is an amazing composer himself, and I think it would be really, really interesting to work with him. James Bernards asks, can you please make more funky songs like I Need You? No, I can't. I spent all my funk on that one track. It's all gone. That's it. Anuanus asks, when will you make a Patreon? Maybe at 1 million subscribers so I can quit my job. I don't have the time or energy to dedicate to a Patreon in my mind, to make it worthwhile for patrons. I've seen what some people like Cuckoo and Andrew Huang and others have done with their Patreons. And there's a lot of interaction and a lot of dedication going on there that I just do not have the time or energy for. Until I have that time and energy, I don't really feel comfortable asking you guys for money. So I'll let you know when that happens. Rob T Films asks, what does the "this is real" tattoo mean? It says this is really happening. It's basically a reminder that no matter how crazy things get or how unreal the things that in your life are happening, that the choices that you make still have real consequences, and you need to make sure that you remain grounded and make good choices even in the face of some really surreal situations. A couple questions about what I would want in an OP2. The only thing I would want in an OP2 is for it to be $50 so that everyone could get one and stop telling me how expensive it is. Matthew Wong asks, OP1 and Digitact are now in your repertoire along with the other drum brute and a few other things. Is there an end goal you're trying to work towards, or is it more just exploring your latest thing? It's both. I buy things I know that I'm going to use to make music with. And I'm not really building towards any particular goal. I'd like to be able to do live shows, and some of the things I bought have that goal in mind. But mostly I like to buy instruments that either are standalone, like the Digitact or the OP1, where I can make full songs on them without getting distracted by a lot of other things. Or I buy instruments like the Virus, which are something that I can make almost any sound on for any application. So I just try to get the most out of the gear that I get. Joe Dolan asks, what's your absolute favorite piece of hardware you've gotten to work with? Besides the OP1 and the Virus, the Moog Sub 37 is a joy to play. I lost about an hour on one just jamming out. I love that thing. It sounds amazing. I'll probably get one day. Do you use GitHub, or is the octocat just because you liked it? Also, do you use programming? I do have a GitHub account. I don't really do much. I've messed around with some custom libraries and wrappers for FFmpeg to make encoding solutions for not the job I have now, but the previous job. Done some front-end programming for a couple websites for myself. Really not a coder. Octocat kind of just took off in the whole thing, and now he's in there because people ask for him. Brian, my partner, is the engineer in the household. Question, how has Octocat been doing lately? I don't know. How you doing, Octocat? Terrific. How long does it take to make one of your tracks? Anywhere from like a week to a month. I'm on a schedule now, so I don't really have the luxury of taking forever to finish something. And that's good. I mean, I can let tracks sit and massage them for like a year if I am left up to my own devices. But yeah, about a week to a month to get a track done. Do you have any main composition methods or workflow? Howie Henderson asks. Sort of. I'm noticing this more and more. I have ways of changing things up that are really specific. Like I'll go back and forth between long sustained sections with like pads that are long, or like big melodies that are long, and then go to like tight rhythmic sections. So what I'm finding more and more is that my style is more about tension and release than it is like any particular flow, and that can express itself in a lot of different musical ways. As for the OP1 being my primary composition device, it's absolutely not. It's just what you guys see on YouTube. I use Ableton a ton, and the Digitact and everything, but if I was going to have to point a finger at my main compositional device, it would be Ableton. Jeff Ramos asks, would love advice on some music theory tips, favorite keys for electronic music, reliable chord progressions, blah, blah, blah. All right, so I got a link in the description here to an analysis that was done on the Beatport charts, and I think it will answer some of those questions for you and also just be an interesting read. A minor is the #1 key for electronic music, and not really sure why. It may have something to do with the tuning of the systems that this music is being played on. The frequency response of those things, but A is that. I don't compose in A minor a lot. It's okay. I go for C a lot and A flat minor because the black keys are really easy to play. As for any tips about chord progressions, I was trying to think about this too. And so I record in C a lot, C minor, and I will go between C and A minor. And actually that's A major, sorry. C minor, A major, A flat major, B flat. These are chords you can all kind of go between. And then I use suspends a lot. where appropriate. I don't really have a huge amount of tips for making chord progressions outside of knowing what chords will sound like if you jump from one to the other. Switching between major and minor can be pretty cool. Like, that's minor to major. That's minor to minor. It's not quite as interesting. And the only other tip I'll show off, because I'm really not good at talking about music theory, is, and there's probably a music theory name for this. I don't know what it is, but basically taking the perfect fifth of a chord. So in this case, it's A flat major, and so the perfect fifth is up here at E flat. So, and now take that note and make the chord on top of it that would be its major. So in this case, if it's E flat, it would be E flat major. So just stack the two on top of each other. So I guess technically that's a flat major 11th. I don't know. See, music theory. If I knew it better, I could talk to you better. But it's a really nice sound, and I do this a ton with things where I'll just stack chords on top of each other. I rarely play a chord on its own. I'll always add something to it that's not part of the triad. So that's the biggest tip I can give you. If you want to make an interesting sounding chord, make it more complex than just a normal triad. They call me PJ asks, if you could talk to yourself from 5 years ago, what advice would you give yourself? That everything's going to be okay and you can stop stressing out a little bit. I mean, it's not okay, but it's better than you thought it was. So, chill out. Username asks, how can you make such awesome music? Where does the creativity come from? The fear of death is an infinite source of energy. Ryan Albert asks, would you do a comprehensive Ableton tutorial? No, I have absolutely no interest in doing that. There are a ton of Ableton tutorials online. You just need to Google. Google, for f***'s sake, use Google. Everybody use Google. Just use Google. Google it. Felix Favors asks, what do you think of AIs composing music and getting better at imitating humans? It's fine. Bumper210 asks, why does the OP1 get so much hate from music producers? I think it's polarizing because of the price. Honestly, like if it was $50 or $150, then everyone would have one and, it wouldn't be a big deal. But because it's so expensive, it messes with people's heads. Aaron Buys asks, how many of your tracks do you delete because they didn't make the cut? Lots. I try not to do that anymore. A lot of the time I would make really bad music and I would just push it through to the end because I didn't really understand it was bad music. And now I try to really focus my energy so that that doesn't happen. That means I have to delete less. I did delete I think 15 sessions recently that had been on my hard drive for 2 years and I wasn't going to finish them. And I didn't even have the samples for them anymore. I just didn't care. I had better things to do. Timers Music, asks why. Nikki asks, favorite snack, favorite anime, favorite video game. Cheese, Space Dandy, and Dark Souls 3. Spurgerino asks, what's your favorite pizza? Let's ask Octocat, what's your favorite pizza? Terrific. Pineapple on pizza, yeah or nay? No. Unimox asks, when do you take your inspiration from? What is motivating you to start something and keeps you motivated to finish it? Right now, these days, a lot of that is coming from you guys and the positive feedback that you're giving me. It's been an overwhelmingly important thing to have that and to keep me going and making stuff. So thank you very much. As for the things that keep things going, here's a couple tweets that I saw recently that kind of speak to that. I feel compelled to create. I always have. I feel very stagnant. And and useless if I'm not doing something, and if I'm not being constructive with my time. And I also am really, really scared about not having anything that sets me apart in this world, or that I can leave behind after I go. And creating music and creating video and creating art makes me feel like I'm not wasting my time on this earth, and that when I pass, like, I will have this legacy of things that I've made that people can look at and be like, yeah, that was Jeremy. Like, that's what he did. Who inspires you in life? My partner, Brian, is a huge, gigantic source of inspiration for me. And then I have some friends over the years who have been involved in some really cool things that have inspired me. My friend Jay in San Francisco, who was working at EA at the time doing sound design. My friend Matt G, who is a really talented motion graphics person who taught me a lot. My friend Chris, who worked with Boz and taught me a lot about audio engineering. I was really, really fortunate to have met these people in my life at the right time and have them help me and teach me things. And that turned out to be really, really inspirational. Stormy Zombie asks, what other hobbies do you have outside of music? Exercise, video games, playing pool, crying, and drinking. Someone asked, what is your favorite power samoyeds and why? They power the cloud. They are the cloud. Without them, we would not have the cloud. Robin Hood East asks, did you ever think you would be doing what you're currently doing? I did not, and I do not know what I'm doing. Sergio Hernandez asks, did you ever think that your awesomely music and your fucking good videos would be liked, and how does it feel? I did not think that. I did not expect that at all, and it feels wonderful. The Trim asks, have you always been so attractive and funny? Do you have to try to be funny, or is it just natural for you? I use humor as a mask for pain, so it's very natural. Vonarska asks, what are some of your favorite peers, colleagues doing similar things professionally or unprofessionally? I think on YouTube, the peers are people like Andrew Huang, Cuckoo, Accurate Beats, Mylar Melodies, Madeira, Heinbach, Exerbia, and Ollie McKendricks. These are people that I guess we're kind of peers. I mean, we're all making music and creative things, some of which I've gotten a chance to talk to, and some of them I haven't. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have peers. Stupid Robot Fighting League asks, what 5 top YouTube channels do you watch? Exerbia, You Suck at Cooking, Brett Domino, Every Frame of Painting, and Lewis Cole Music. Question that is not related to your music. Your video editing is witty, spot on, and well timed. Where and how have you acquired this talent, and for how long have you been editing? I started editing, I guess, when I was going to audio engineering school at the Art Institute. I picked up some video classes there and really got into it. I started messing around on my own, just doing my own little projects with Final Cut Pro 7. And then a company that I had doing soundtrack contract work for needed another editor, and I asked if I could be that editor, and they hired me on. It was an adult film company in San Francisco. So for about 5 years, I edited adult films and learned a ton about the process from point A to point D. And after that, I did a lot of freelance work, worked for Fantastic Negrito doing some stuff, and learned a lot from that. Just kept on shooting my own stuff and trying to get better and better and better, and learned After Effects, learned Cinema 4D, practice. And that's where we got to where we are today. Paul Starr asks, what's something crucial to your musical process that nobody asks about or that we might be surprised to discover? Paul, I'm here to tell you the secret. So come closer. Closer, Paul. Paul, the secret is despair. Harry McBoone asks, how much is the estimated cost of everything in your setup? Maybe some key components that you think are necessary to get started. I don't really feel like telling you how much everything costs here. I don't really understand the point of that. As for what you need to get started making music, you need a computer, you need a free DAW software, you need some plugins and some headphones. That's it. It's not that difficult. I guess you probably need some drive and some patience too. But yeah, you don't really need a lot to get started. Oh, and if Rolly wants to send me a Seaboard, I'll take it. Rolly? Ezrealith asks, what is the one thing you do every day that is most important to you? Exercise. Exercise is the number one most important thing to me outside of sleep and continuing to be alive. It's part of that constructive living thing that I want to do with myself, where I feel like I'm actually using my time wisely. So yeah, it's exercise. Cody May asks, what BPM is your life set to? Five. Russian person asks, hello from Russia. What is the meaning of life? Talk soon. The wise man asks, how do you like your breakfast? I like it hot and meaty. Blue Wires asks, where do I buy your sense of humor? eBay? Hudson164 asks, are you gay? Am I gay? No. I'm super gay. Commerfus asks, how did you balance making music, working, living? Can you switch your creativity on if you need it? I definitely need to be in the mood. And sometimes that can be hard because time is so limited. And I know that if I want to do something, it's going to take a certain amount of time and a certain amount of focus and a certain amount of energy. So especially during the week, after I come home from work, I try to fill my time with like small tasks, sometimes things that aren't like super creative, but there are things that I can do to help push a project forward or something like that. During the weekends and during other times when I will be working on a project, I know that that's the time I have for that project. That's it. Like if I don't get it done, then it won't get done. And sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes it falls apart and you have to start over, and that's really, really frustrating. But at this point, I know that since my time is limited, when I do have time to work, I have to turn it on and I have to make it count. August 24th asks, where do you think your channel will go and what kind of projects will you call into existence? I have no idea where my channel is going to go. The success of this channel is a very new thing. It's really been this year that things have exploded, and that's amazing to me and confusing to me and scary to me all at the same time. A lot of the things that you're seeing on this channel are a result of the suggestions from you people in the comments, and that's been really, really fantastic to get just like a random idea thrown out, and I'm like, yeah, that's something that I could do. That would be fun. So please continue to do that, and I will try to make those happen. I really appreciate it. As for where the channel's going, I don't know. I do not have any template for where this thing is going. I do not see any channels on YouTube that I want to try to be like, either because it's just not who I am, or they're already doing it really, really well, and there's no point in doing that again. So I'm going to keep on making music. I'm going to keep on making videos that I enjoy making, and I will continue listening to your suggestions, and hopefully we'll continue to enjoy each other's company through the process. Ben Burns asks, what is your plan, both professionally and for the channel over the next year, 5 years? Curious where you're going to take the ship. Again, Ben, like the previous answer said, I don't really know what I'm doing with this. I'm figuring it out as I go. The idea of being a YouTuber isn't really super high on my list of priorities. I don't really want to be a personality here on camera for everybody. I just want to make music and I want to make video. And if you guys are cool with that, then we can hang out and do those things. Shashir asks, what do you do your aesthetic and how do you think you see the world? How does that affect your compositions, both video and blah, blah, blah. With the photography stuff, I always wanted to capture what was real in the way that I saw it, the things that were hidden in plain sight, the things that were beautiful even if they weren't beautiful. I did a lot of street photography, and I thought that there was a lot to capture out in the world that was happening, that just happened for a split second, and you'd never see it again. And if you were there to capture it, then you were able to capture a moment in time in a special way. I really believe in truth, and I believe that all of us are here together as humans, and that we have an incredible thing that we're sharing together that's also really scary at the same time. And I want to make things that speak to that truth and to speak to that we're all human, that we're all experiencing this together, in hopes that I can better understand it myself and that other people can feel maybe a little less alone or a little bit more connected to the world around them. And I guess that's kind of what art is to me. It's a way of expressing something that all of us understand innately, but we don't really know how to put into words. If I can help shape that into something that I can share, then that's what I'm trying to do. So thank you all so much for your questions. It's been fun answering them. I really, 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 really appreciate it. And I want to thank you for helping get the channel to where it is. I literally could not have done this without you. So thanks. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out. And I guess I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye.